Let me tell you a tale of many years ago, when the internet was still new to me. You see, my first interactions on the internet with real people was in one of the strangest places you could imagine. It was Pokemon. At the time, I was 16 years old, I believe, and I had just discovered that on Pokemon X and Y and Omega Ruby and Ultra Sapphire, on your little 3DS, you could chat with people in real time. You could talk to them. And it was so cool to me. I loved the concept, right? And the bed likes to run off. It's got a mind of its own, just like the chair. Anyway, it was an interesting experience, so I spoke to strangers from all across the world. I actually stopped using Pokemon for Pokemon, and I just started kind of talking to people. It was fun though, you know. I mean, to be fair, all of the battles were really lame because everyone was overpowered, they cheated, and had like level 100s and legends and megas. Nobody ever used actual Pokemon, like Psyducks and Bulbasaur and crap. They were all like on here with like the freaking Mega Mewtwo XY version, you know. Anyway, so I was just basically on there just to kind of for a while, I was just trolling people, antagonizing people, because it was fun. And I had eventually stumbled upon a guy named DanzigMoon. Now, I don't know if it was my brother who introduced me to him. He was always hooking me up with the really funny, interesting people. This one I might have discovered on my own. Well, his name stood out to me, DanzigMoon, right? Because I like Danzig. At the time, I hadn't even listened to the Misfits, but I knew Danzig, and I was like, you know what, bet. He probably listens to a lot of really cool, like, hardcore metal. So I got in a trade with him, and I think he liked me, because I dropped a lot of references and stuff. Mind you, I was 16 years old at the time. I don't know how old this dude was. Probably as old as my brother. His bro was probably like 34 years old or something, living at home with his mom and dad or his aunt and uncle. Anyway, so he had, really good Pokemon, and he was farming those overpowered fake ones too. Like, I remember he was giving me like shinies and like level 100s and Japanese editions and stuff, and they all had like nicknames. He gave them nicknames, and they were like cutie pie with a heart and a little heart emoji on each end, and like ones that were like be mine, little, it was basically kind of like a Valentine's Day card service but with Pokemon. Now I think he liked me, and we never spoke with voice chat, but we had become pretty good friends on Pokemon for quite a while. Anyway, he something happened, I suppose. I don't ever believe we battled, but we traded a bit. And I mean, he was giving these things out for free practically. I was just farming Oddishes at this point, so I was just trying to get like shiny Oddish, and I named like every Oddish some kind of stupid weed reference. But anyway, that's probably what I was trading him, was my extra Oddishes. Anyway, so I didn't know Typo Negative. They didn't really seem like my kind of band. And he kept saying Typo Negative, my girlfriend's girlfriend. And it kind of got on my nerves, because it's like, yeah, I don't like Typo Negative. Like, leave me alone with this. And then it got to a point where, now, I don't know what it was specifically, but I know that he had in his profile name, like, because we all had a description, and his said, rude, crude dude, or something poetic like that. And we got into this really big argument. And I started calling him, like, I don't know, it was like, whoop-de-doo, you smell like poo, or something like that. Because at the time, I was a real poet. I don't remember what it was now. It was way more creative than that. But, you know, you get the point. And so we basically started arguing in poem form. And we were like, this was going back and forth for a while. I was pacing back on the floor. I was nervous. I was so fueled by this. I was enraged. He had the audacity to say, I don't remember what it was he said to me, and I wish I knew, but he said something that struck a chord. And so that's when it fired up, and I fired him up with the ultimate insult. I don't remember what it was, but it was to the point where he said, you know what? We're done. I liked you, but not anymore. And at this point, I'm like, oh no, I'm losing him. What have I done? And so I was like begging him to come back, you know? I was throwing out those references. I was all like, no, don't go, Danzig. It's a long way back from hell. And I was like, am I demon? And I was like, you know, giving him all the references She Rides, Twists of Cain, and like everything from the debut album. And he was like, nope, too late. You already screwed up. And I lost DanzigMoon. And it was a short-lived era, but it was a beautiful one at that. But you know, honestly, in retrospect, I probably saved myself from something very bad. Like, I was 16 and I don't know how old this dude was, but he was sending me Pokemon named Cutie Pie with 2 hearts on each end and stuff like that. So, I don't know. He never bothered to ask how old I was, and I never bothered to ask him. I guess it didn't matter. I mean, we weren't dating or nothing like that. It was just a little weird. But you know, in retrospect, I don't regret it at all. Guy was a jerk, you know. I do love how it went out. It was very poetic. It was kind of like an Eminem rap battle, but metal style on our little tiny 3DS. In broken sentences, because you know you can only put in like 36 letters at a time, and it's a shout out too, so everyone can see it. And it was just really incredible. But you know what? I've grown to love Misfits over time, both Danzig Misfits and every era of Misfits. But there's not a doubt in my mind that that dude stunk. I just know he stunk. He smelled like BO. He smelled like onions and Vans shoes without socks all summer. That's how he stunk, and he probably always had his butt crack showing too. And like I say, probably still lived with his aunt and uncle, sucking on candy canes in August. Now, I won't lie, that is an incredible experience. If you've ever done that, you know those big, giant candy canes, not the ones with the hoop, but like just the pole, you know, like the really thick ones, them are real good. They'll destroy your teeth, but they're good. Anyway. But yeah, that was a moment in time that I will never forget. I have many other online Pokemon experience stories. If you want to hear more about it, let me know. Subscribe, like, do whatever you please. But yeah, maybe share your personal experience if you've ever been on that era of Pokemon online. Some fun stuff happened, and I met some pretty interesting people. I don't know any of them now. But that was during COVID too, mind you. So we were all indoors hopping back on our 3DS, probably. So yeah, it was a wild time in my life. But yeah, have a good one. Bye.